I'm thinking I'm back. What's up, babies? It is Kayla. This is ScreenVomit. It has been a while since I've posted anything. Thank you so much for chilling, for waiting, for letting me know you missed me while I was gone. I have been doing the hugest thing I've ever done in my life and making history. No big deal. I'm not sure how much I've talked about this on the pod, but I do run a LGBTQ group based in Elgin, Illinois. I founded it several years ago when I moved to Elgin in like 2018 or something like that. I started this group and we had started planning a pride parade. I kind of got snowballed into doing this pride parade thing, and I've never I've done city events. I've done big events. I've never done something quite that large where I was the main guy for it. I've been on boards for music fests that are very large where I am just a member of a huge team, but I've never been like the guy. I did have my own music fest for a while, but I mean, it was like a DIY fest, so it wasn't something where I was like getting permits and like doing stuff official. I was like hell raising, you know, so this was just much more complicated. And I also didn't have a huge team of volunteers to help me with this. I had kind of like 3 to 5 people depending on the week and who felt like showing up. Also, I did all this while not living there, which is an insane thing to do. Do not recommend doing that. That is so hard to plan a pride parade and festival for a city that you do not live in the state anymore. So I actually did it. I did it. You can Google it. Elgin's first Pride Parade and Festival. I was all over the news. It has been challenging. It has taken every ounce of everything I got. All my energy, all my time. But it has also been so rewarding. So we did it. 4,000 people came. It went off without a hitch. No protesters, nothing weird. Just a lot of people out there celebrating. And there's lots of news articles where people on the street were interviewed and they said really nice things. So it seemed to mean a lot to a lot of people, and it means a lot to me. And that was a place where I lived as a queer person and couldn't find my community. So that's why I created it. So that's what I've been up to. And that's why I didn't have no damn ass time to be editing a podcast or recording or anything or any possible thing besides doing that. It took all my time, truly. So anyway, all that to say, that's what I've been up to. That's why I've been gone, but I'm back, baby. I have had several episodes in the can that I just wasn't able to find the time to edit through all this. So I got some oldies that are going to be popping out. And this is one of them. So I actually recorded this episode in September, TBT. It is now June, so it has been a minute. But you know what? Still good as hell. But just to say it is a little old, and at the end of the episode, we're like talking about how Barbarian's in theaters, and it is hella not in theaters no more. So that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up with me. That's what's up with the pod. Pod's gonna be back, babe. So anyway, I love y'all. I do have a guest with me today. All that to say, there's my catch up. Here's what's moving forward. The guest today is an old pal of mine, return guest. He was on the pod, I don't know, a couple years ago doing Killing of a Sacred Deer, and now he is back, babe, doing another Greek film. Another of that freaky Greeky. I am joined by TJ JAEGER, who is a celeb producer, an absolute hard rocker. He has worked on BattleBots, American Ninja Warrior, Dancing with the Stars, all kinds of crap. So proud of him. I've known him forever, since he was just a little tween in college, and now he's very successful, so that's so cool. I love to see him absolutely blooming out there in LA. He also is a hard rocker, like I said. I met him in a band called House Olympics. He's now in a band called Auteur, and coming up, he's got a new band he's working on. I'm so excited to see. They don't have a name yet, but I don't know, follow his Instagram or something if you like rock. And I'm just really excited for it. So here's the damn episode. So I did have an embarrassing moment because I walked by my neighbor's house and this cat was on their porch meowing at the door. And this particular neighbor, this was an all-black cat, and this particular neighbor has a garage that is painted with the face of it's got a whole black cat on it. It's painted huge, like a portrait. And so I go, well, this must be their cat. It's meowing at their door, just meow, meow. Yeah. Let me, looks like a homed cat. Doesn't look like all scraggly or nothing. So I rang their doorbell. The dude came to the door like, hello? And I was like, oh, hi, like, is this your cat? And he was like, no, that's the neighbor's cat. And I just had to be like,
fucking idiot.
Oh.
Why would you assume it's my cat?
I was like, oh, sorry. He was just meowing at your door, so I didn't know if he just got out or something. Bye. Then I disturbed my neighbor for no reason.
That's okay.
I know. It is okay, actually. It's fine. But it was a little embarrassing. But what's that cat doing? Why is he meowing at their door?
Saying, take my face off of your mural. Meow.
Mural. I know. I was like, how do you get it in there? You could you could go with the mew. Some people do a mew for like mural. That's a little easier than trying to do meow. Okay, should we do this podcast?
Yeah, let's fucking do it.
I'm here with TJ. What's up?
Hey.
The return of TJ. When was the last time you were on? It was like
more
2
like
years.
2J.
Hey.
I am trying to remember the last time that I was on.
I think it was like 2 years ago.
It was May 2020.
Wow.
We did it. So
20, times have changed, some would say, between now and then, and some would say not enough.
Yeah. In fact, everything's gotten worse.
Yeah, pretty much. I was trying to think of one thing that had gotten better, and I couldn't think of a single thing.
Nope.
Since May 2020. No. I have a better job now, so for me personally, it's gotten a little better.
Yeah.
You're unemployed, so for you personally.
Worse. I am, being unemployed. I mean, by choice, though, kind of, so neutral.
Yeah.
Neutral.
Or you're in between jobs, as they would say.
Yeah. On Facebook,
TJ's in the industry.
It's called It's Complicated.
Job status, it's complicated. Oh, gosh. Starting off goofy. Okay, so unemployed. Where can we go from there? So I met you, TJ, my pal, for the normals when you were just a young tween, in college. Did you go to school for film?
No, I went to school for journalism.
Oh, okay.
But
you were making films in school.
Yeah, so I had to find a roundabout way to make movies and stuff in college because when I started going to school at Indiana University in Bloomington.
Spoiler alert, we're both from Indiana.
Spoiler alert. They didn't have a film program, like a film school as part of their media school when I first started there.
That they do now?
They do now. It was a couple years after I was already halfway down the road of my journalism degree. They were like, oh, now we have film stuff. So.
Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it was stupid. So instead of actually getting to have a film degree, I was like, I'm going to just write, do journalism and stuff. And then at the time, all the film classes were listed under communications. So I have a minor in communications. I couldn't tell you a single thing about communications other than film, but that's what...
Would you have wanted to go just to film school if that was the choice initially? Would that have been what you'd done, you think?
Maybe. Probably. Honestly, just because, that is something that I probably very much idealized when I was, at that point in my life, Because
these days everybody says film school's bullshit, you don't need it, blah, blah, blah. But back then, nobody was saying that.
Right. Big fuck going to film school. I respect people who do it, 100%. I'm not trying to, throw shade at it. Yeah, no shade. Yeah. I'm not trying to call people dumb for doing it or anything. But, just from my own personal experience, just going to school for journalism and stuff and, finding a random PA gig through a Facebook post when I moved out to LA, and they were just like, okay, you made some films in college just on your own,
Yeah. You don't need it to have a career that is film adjacent or film related.
At least in the area that I work in, because there's other things.
LA?
With writing or producing and stuff like that. That's a lot of stuff that you can learn on the job.
Yeah.
But I would say if you want to work in camera department or learn or be a gaffer and get really good at lighting stuff, or even just doing sound and stuff, there's a lot of great film classes where you learn the basics of all that stuff and you get like...
If you need like a technical skill, that might be different. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also like film schools and stuff, you can rent out gear, and like film gear is fucking expensive. So it's having that resource, even though, you know, you're paying to go to school, like at least you get to like check out gear along the way as well.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, which is why my resume is sort of weird.
Complicated?
It's complicated.
So when you moved to LA, what were you thinking you would do? I mean, you became a PA and now you're a very successful producer of reality television shows, multiple reality television shows everyone's heard of.
Keep saying that. Keep saying nice things about me.
Very successful, professional young man.
Wow.
But what was your goal when you moved out there? We've never talked about this as friends, by the way.
So, I mean, my goal when I first moved out to LA, I wanted to write scripts, become a screenwriter, get in writers' rooms, sell screenplays. And that's still what I want to do. Like, that's still my end goal. That's the dream. But there's a lot of gatekeeping out here in LA. And it's very hard to get your scripts read by anybody, like even your friends. So
I've been hearing even like people I know who are like a little bit celeb are having a lot of problems. And somebody just posted this article from Charlize Theron saying that she can't even get her scripts read. Then you're going, well, now we're really all fucked, right?
Yeah. There's this like false idea right now, just because of all the different streaming platforms. People are like, yeah, more stuff is getting made than ever. Cause like there's Netflix originals, Hulu originals. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like they have stuff getting made. Yes. But like, it's still just so hard for a normie person who isn't some celebrity's child, like isn't like best friends with someone who is like a manager or an agent or has a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different ways that people do get their scripts read and stuff through like screenwriting competitions and, you know, just doing like cold call, like inquiry emails and stuff to like producers and agents and stuff. But like, you know, a lot of that stuff, it's like such a long shot.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like that's why I'm not doing that for a living.
It feels impossible, but it's something you would like to do.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you spend any time writing still now?
I do. Yeah.
Cool.
And that was a big reason that I am unemployed right now. It's because I got burnt out like with doing stuff in reality and everything. So I wanted to take more time to do my own creative endeavors. So like I went through, I have like a few feature scripts like under my belt that I've like written and finished, some like shorts and stuff. And like, that's only like part of the battle, you know, is like having that stuff like ready. But then the other part is like, you know, being a salesperson about it and like being like, hey, read my script. So, you know, like I still try to do a little bit of writing as much as I can. Not so much right now, like at least like within the past couple weeks, because I've been focusing on like musical stuff, which is cool. But
TJ also a rocker, by the way.
Professional rocker.
Professional, successful rock musician.
Yeah, favorite band probably would have to go with Theory of a Deadman. I used to have a jacket of theirs.
Really?
Yeah, I went to a concert with my family, and my mom bought me like a little zip up hoodie for them. And I was
rocks.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I wore it to school a few times.
What was their hit? Didn't they have a hit?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know a single song of theirs.
Okay, poser, name 3 of their songs.
I could pull it up on Spotify real quick and pretend.
I feel like they had one hit though, right?
I was told that I needed to prepare to watch this movie, not
prepare on Theory of a Deadman.
Not prepare my Theory of a Deadman discography knowledge.
Here are their top 5 songs on Spotify: RX (parentheses Medicate),
Ooh.
Bad Girlfriend,
Ooh.
Angel, Bitch Came Back.
Bitch Came
we got
Back.
A storyline. Hate My Life.
Hate My
Literally
Life.
a storyline.
Wow. So I'm assuming the first song is like, you know, making fun of or like throwing some sort of shade at like people who medicate to make their problems go away.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of songs about hating women, it sounds like. So you tell me.
Literally, what is their hit? Who can say? If you know Theory of a Deadman's hit, DM me.
So A little side project that I've been talking to a friend to start doing.
Yeah.
Is we want to start a butt rock radio station called K-Butt. KBUTT. five letters.
Wow.
So
first of them, my 2 initials. Interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds like that should be my radio station, actually.
You could come on as a guest commentator. 100%.
Hell yeah. But yeah, or I'll DJ for an hour. Mm-hmm.
The whole the mission statement of K-Butt is to play the music of the people. Butt rock. And but like, you know, actually play the music and actually enjoy it and really seriously lean into it.
So that's gonna be your new personality.
Yeah. Well,
old TJ can't come to the phone right now. Why? He's dead. He's into butt rock on K-Butt.
I've always been into butt rock. I can ask my mom if that Theory of a Deadman hoodie's still around at my parents' house.
Oh yeah, you better be rocking that thing. Rock that Theory of a Deadman hoodie. Take your scripts around town. I'm sure it will bring you success.
Yeah, I'm gonna just like knock on the fucking gate for like the Netflix building and be like, "Here's my script," and they're like, "Wait a minute, is that Theory of a Deadman? Holy shit!" Fucking love that band.
Are you a theory head?
Theory? Are you a deadhead? I know that's the other band, but we're deadheads too.
A T-dead?
A T-dead?
A man-head? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of other.
I like man-head.
Are you a man-head?
Dude, huge man-head over
thing
here.
To say. Okay, so where were we? You're writing scripts, no one will read them. You want to be a screenwriter.
Yes.
But somehow you slid in the back door into reality television.
Yeah.
Being number 1 guy in reality TV.
No, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's not really a question there. I just was interested in... I felt like probably you didn't move to LA with the intention of becoming number 1 guy in reality TV. So
100% not. Yeah, it's something I very much just fell into. Yeah, like, you know, when I moved to LA, I worked as a PA on just any random set that I could get onto for about a year. And that shit,
I remember some stories.
Yeah, that shit was quite difficult.
Yeah.
Cuz, you know, like a lot of productions are not kind to PAs in the hours that they work, the rates that they get paid. So as a result, they don't get a lot of money. They're sort of like
the lowest tier.
100%.
Right.
And like, and you know, there's just sort of like this idea of like, oh yeah, PAs, like you gotta cut your teeth on these shows, and you gotta like, you know, just like sort of like you gotta put the time in, like pay your dues, like as a PA in order to like move up. And I hate that. Like so much. Yeah. I won't get too far into it, but yeah, like it's hard. It's hard.
You're gonna refrain from popping off.
Yeah. Excuse me as I hold myself from popping off real quick. But yeah, like
holding it in, bottling it up, saving for later.
Like a good adult.
Man. Specifically.
Yeah, man. No, it's okay. I go to therapy. I talk about this with my therapist.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, just a year of like working like really long hours sometimes on shows.
Like a damn dog, some would say.
Like a damn dog, some would say. And just like, yeah, not getting paid very well. And like, and also just because PAs are so expendable, you can get fired for the dumbest shit. Or like you need to like find sort of like your group of people that keep bringing you back, just because it's so hard to like find new networks of as a PA, just because there's like everyone's trying to be a PA. Like it's like very hard to at least just like start off. So eventually, after doing that for about a year, one of my buddies, his name is Scott, who is the singer of my band, Auteur.
Band plug.
Band plug. He works in reality TV. He's like a producer.
Oh, like, wow, random.
So he is...
2 guys in reality TV with a band called Auteur.
I know, like what? How on the nose?
That's just kind of funny. Carry on.
But like, Scott and I became friends. We would hang out. We would like, you know, go to some like metal shows and stuff. We would like jam at his like rehearsal studio and everything, and like just became like little like metal buds. I knew that he like worked in reality TV and everything, but like he never really was in a position to like bring me on any of his shows or anything, just because he knew that I was green,
Chump,
as they say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically took a year to learn everything, like how to behave on set and not get fired for things, and like just kind of like become
after getting fired for things.
Yeah, so after I got fired from a show, because I broke the NDA, because I posted I posted a video on my Instagram story. Shout out to Brat TV. They fired me because I posted a video on my Instagram story from like one take of a shot that we were doing, which like, you know, I was totally in the wrong. Like, I'm not trying to justify what I did, but the reason that it became such a big deal is because it like blew up overnight. Like, there was some girl in the shot that was like some like 12-year-old who had like millions of followers on Instagram, had these crazy stalker fans who like ripped my shit off of Instagram and like posted it on YouTube, and it got like tens of thousands of plays overnight and everything. And basically the next morning, you
went viral, but bad way.
Bad viral. Like, I was a virus, and I got a call from the executive producer the next morning, and he was like, "So TJ, this happened. You can't come back to set." And I never heard from them ever again. So,
damn.
But I was fine because then
but you learned your lesson.
I learned my lesson, as in I made my Instagram private. I still post shit, but only.
Don't say that, TJ.
I still post shit.
No.
But
TJ would never post shit.
But I know what stuff to post. Like, I don't post spoiler type stuff. Like, I did learn my lesson. But yeah, basically after doing that, like, then around that same time, like, Scott was like, "Hey, like, do you want to come work on this show? Like, do you know how to edit in like Avid and stuff?" And I was like, "Nope, but I'll learn over the weekend." And I got on this like fucking History Channel show about trucks. It was called Truck Night in America. And it was this it's this amazing show about
watch a show about truck nuts and learn how to edit.
Truck Nut in America. But yeah, I literally learned how to edit on that show.
Write that show, Truck Nut in America. Go on.
I told you I wanted to get truck nuts for my hybrid, right?
No.
I want to get like the longest truck nuts I can find, so they can just fucking like drag on the ground, like fucking shooting up sparks and shit. Like, how fucking funny would that be?
To that extent, maybe it would be funny, but you'd probably get pulled over for like road hazard or some shit.
Yeah.
And you'd probably beat up the damn roads, and you know the roads already have their issues.
Yeah, I would get in trouble for fucking teabagging the street.
Without consent. It sucks because truck nuts are like low-key so funny, but like they're also like literally the worst thing. Like, you know, only the worst people on earth have them, like, to the extent that you really can't even have them ironically. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. We have to take them back. Take back the truck nuts.
We have to reclaim nuts. Reclaim these nuts. TJ's platform.
Reclaim these nuts. Nuts to the people.
I'm doing good with it. What was the other one I said? Truck nut.
Truck nut in America. Truck nuts in America.
Truck nut in America, reclaim these nuts.
For the people. Is that going to be the name of the episode?
Okay, I had to take a pause to write that one down. Okay, we should probably get into this movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the movie that was selected for this very day is the 2012 Greek absurdist comedy, L. Just the letter L, nothing else to it. TJ doing the L on the forehead, finger and his thumb in the shape of an L on his forehead.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I get it now.
Okay, so this was on my list, I believe, but had you heard of this before or anything?
No.
Yeah, so you knew nothing about it at all. I really didn't know much about it either. This was like something that was like a suggested watch thing on Canopy when I was watching something else or looking something else up, and it was like a For You thing.
That was going to be one of my questions, like, where the fuck did you find this movie? I'm trying to cuss a lot because you said in the email cussing is cool. So
cussing is actually so cool. I am actually love when people come on here and cuss. Well, because it's like people will ask me like, "Oh no, I said shit, is that a crime?" And I go, I don't give a fuck. So you had to put in there cussing is cool, but then also it's a double catch-22 because if you write cussing is cool, people go, they said cussing, that's stupid. So
I like cussing.
I think cuss is a great word.
I think the word cussing, it's way funnier than swearing.
That's what I say. That's literally on record, me having said that like 4 episodes ago.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Anyway, this is also a film that it was about to expire from the ScreenVomit list because I only do last 10 years. So at the end of this year, I'm not going to be able to do 2012 films no more. But I had seen the synopsis of this and it just sounded so fucking insane. I knew nothing about it except that I had read the little synopsis that's on Canopy.com app and went from there. But I'm really glad you picked it. And actually, it's sort of serendipitous that you did, as we'll find out here in a moment. I guess I'll just get into the little crew here. This is directed and co-written by Babis Makridis.
Babies.
All right? You're going to have to bear with me on these
like
Greek-ass names. It does look like babies. When I'm typing in L Babis on Google, it's like, do you mean lost babies or, you know, what? And we're going, no. So this film is kind of hard to look up.
That was the thing that originally, remember, I texted you. I was like, I'm down to watch this movie, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. And then Kayla fucking finds it in like 3 minutes. Is like, here's 4 different websites you can watch it on.
I'm sort of a film sleuth. I'm famously known for being a film sleuth. I can find any film. Just about. I do have a small list of films that I can't find, but I'm really good at finding films.
Yeah, that's a good trait to have if you're doing a film podcast. So
it is. And also just being a little freak who I'm like sort of obsessed with like these weirdo indie films, like too weird for TV, you know what I'm saying? Such as the one that we watched today probably, but also just, you know, in general. So, or ones that are just made by like, I don't know, some comedian in Brooklyn or something who put it online 10 years ago and now I want to find it. I am just, it's fun. I think it's fun to watch films that you have to work to find.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say this with like no sarcasm. Like I never would have probably heard of this movie or even seen it had you not invited me to come do this podcast. So like it's a very awesome thing that you're doing.
Yay. Yeah, and you know, I love to spread the joy of strange films that no one's ever heard of. Give them a little light of day. This one is so, it seems, I mean, this was like a Sundance film in 2012. This was the first ever Greek film to make it to Sundance.
Oh, shit.
So that is like kind of a huge deal. But that having been said, you can almost not find this online. Like, you can't find articles written about it hardly. I found only a handful. It doesn't have enough Rotten Tomatoes ratings to have a score. It doesn't like there are not enough ratings on anything for it to have a score except for Google users, but I don't know that those are even like I don't know how many Google users have to like vote on something before it allows it to be a score or how the percentage is determined, you know what I mean? Because it just goes by percentage of a thumbs up or thumbs down. I mean, it could be 3 people have voted and it's at 51% now actually, so that's actually really bad, but that's the only score we have online to go by.
51%.
Letterboxd has 11 people have rated it and it has a median of 3 stars out of 5. So generally, it's mid. I mean, it's not for everyone. It is a Greek weird wave film, so it takes a particular taste, let's say,
so
this type of movie.
I was trying to read about this movie, and I kept seeing that Greek weird wave. What? I mean, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory, like especially after seeing the movie. But I wanted to ask you, like, if you have some more intel. on it.
So it's kind of like I don't want to say movement. It's like a film. Genre doesn't feel right either. Group classification genre. There was this boom of like these weird, like surrealist or maybe even a little absurd, kind of twisted, sort of dark Greek films that all just like exploded between probably like 2008 or so and kind of still going. But that's kind of when it started booming, I guess. 2008, 2009, something like that. Dogtooth. Have you seen Dogtooth?
That's Yorgos Lanthimos. I haven't seen it, no.
Well, you should, because first of all, it's amazing. But secondly, it's, I think, considered one of the pioneers of that film movement. There's another movie called Attenberg that always comes up that's also considered one of the pioneers of that. Anyway, it's just these like weird Greek movies. They usually explore some kind of like political or cultural issue in like a twisted and fucked up way.
I believe it.
And they're generally like very beautiful. They're more of like art films, less of like they're not normal in any way. So Yorgos Lanthimos is like a big director who is like all his maybe not all of them now, but all of his early films are considered part of that. think. And
so then shout out to our last episode when we did Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yes, so Killing of a Sacred Deer also, I would say, is included, even though it's English language. It is still made by Yorgos. And yeah, that's the last episode that we had TJ on was for Killing of a Sacred Deer. But actually, why I said it's serendipitous is because, here we go with the Greek name, Efthimis Philippou, who co-wrote Killing of a Sacred Deer and actually most of Yorgos Lanthimos' early films, also co-wrote this film.
Oh.
So it's actually so random that we got the same guy who co-wrote that film on this, and same cinematographer also did this film and that film and a lot of Yorgos' films. The other thing about the Greek Weird Wave is that there's a lot of cross-pollination. You know, the same people are working on with each other in each other's movies.
Yeah.
It really is kind of like a community of like kind of punks, like a community of like Greek punks who are like anti-government, or maybe not anti-government necessarily, but just socially conscious, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Typically lefties, a lot of their stuff is queer, you know, cool shit. All the cool people. So they work on each other's stuff a lot. And this is another example of that.
Beautiful.
Also, the main guy in this film, Aris Servitalis, he's also been in a bunch of Yorgos Lanthimos films. So same deal. Cross-pollination there.
I picked this on purpose. So I knew all that.
So like, I just think that's like so crazy that I knew literally nothing about this film except that I had read the synopsis and that's it. You also knew literally nothing about this film. But then we're still drawn towards this film that's so connected to the last film that you did on the podcast. Like, how random is that?
Very random.
That's just kind of cool. TJ's coming on the podcast being random.
Just being LOL random. Lowercase x, capital D.
Give the kids a rar, TJ.
Rar.
Hell yeah. Okay, TJ's going to read us a plot sum for this film. Go for it, Tej.
Plot sum. A man lives in his car. He's 40 and separated from his wife and kids, who live in a different car. They meet in parking lots. A professional driver, the man delivers honey to a narcoleptic man who often dreams of his friend, who was killed when a hunter mistook him for a bear. Frequently late delivering honey, the man is fired and his driving skills are questioned. Thrust into existential uncertainty, he abandons, quote, car life and joins a rogue motorbike gang.
Hell yeah. So you can see why, upon reading this plot summary, I was intrigued, to say the least.
See, I didn't even, like, read any plot summaries when I picked this
really?
movie. I watched the trailer. And
okay.
The trailer doesn't really give much of that. You see him driving in his car a lot, but, like, the trailer really doesn't tell you much of that.
Yeah. So I still have not to this day watched the trailer. So I have no idea what the trailer is even like. So our initial, like, what we were drawn to about this film is absolutely opposing things, like totally different experiences.
Sounds about right.
That rocks. I was thinking you probably read this and you're going, what the hell? This thing sounds crazy. But you didn't even read this.
No.
That's amazing.
I just saw a trailer and I was like, all right, looks cool.
You had no idea what you were in for. Watching
the trailer, I mean, like, it almost gives off, like, similar to Killing of a Sacred Deer. Sort of like a weird slow burn horror type of vibe. You know, there's like the scene where his friend is like holding the arm and stuff, and then like where he's like yelling in the car, like some of like the big highlight moments.
It feels a lot more
there's a lot of things going on like in the trailer. The trailer like looks like it's fucking moving and like shit is just like hitting the fan, which it does in this movie, but like I would not call this movie horror by any means.
No, it's comedy if anything. I think. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, there were times I was when I was watching, I was just like, I caught myself laughing at just like the weirdest shit. Also, like not really related to the movie itself, but I ended up watching it on Plex, and Plex was the free one where it has the ads. And when I tell you that the ads came up during the worst possible fucking times, like it would be mid-scene, like in the middle of a scene.
That's
like,
how they do it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. Like literally. One of the ads I got was for Indiana University, actually, which is really weird. I don't know why they're doing that. Yeah, probably. I do not give Facebook permission to sell my data, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I also.
You have to say it word for word.
I do not give Facebook permission to use my photos or data for any reason without my permission.
There you go. So you're safe now.
Hell yeah. All right, so popping into this film. So we start with this man. This man who exists in a car, like truly exists in his car, never leaves the car. I am always intrigued by like a one-room movie. This is like sort of a really interesting take on a one-room movie, though. Even though he's not there the whole time. He's in this car for the first like 47 minutes or something. Yeah, 47 minutes. I literally wrote it down.
I did too.
47 minutes he's in this car.
Insane.
He does not get out. He does not stand up. He does not leave this car. He sleeps in the car. He eats in the car. He hangs with his friends in the car.
Yeah.
They have birthday parties in the car. Everything is in the car.
I also took note that 35 minutes in, he moved to the passenger seat. So that's the first time that he like changed.
Yes, but also I think what I noticed is that the only time he's not in the driver's seat is when he is dreaming. And I think that was part of a dream sequence. And any other time that we see him in the passenger seat are times that he's dreaming and he's with his dead friend. He's always dreaming. And that can be also metaphorical because he's not conscious. He's no longer in the quote unquote driver's seat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to get all art about it. But that is something I noticed.
I'm going to be honest. I did not even make the connection that dude was dead until probably like halfway through the movie. I was like, why is his friend bloody? Like, what? Like, what is up with that?
Well, here's the thing. Do you know that there are two friends?
I know that there's two friends.
Okay.
Because
the men look very similar in this film. To the extent that I had to watch and rewatch because I was like, I can't tell the men apart. Even when I was looking up like on IMDb their like pictures and stuff, I'm like, I don't know who was the main guy. I can't tell because they all look the same.
Yeah.
It could be this guy with haunting eyes and a mustache. It could be this guy with haunting eyes and a mustache. I don't know. Any one of them. Just
very Greek-looking dudes.
Yeah, and I already kind of struggle with like face blindness, so it was hard for me. But I feel like I've mostly figured it out. There's one part where I'm still a little iffy, but we'll get to that. But the one room of it all, I do think it was cool to... So even though he's in this car for so long, it doesn't feel... Because of the way it's filmed, it doesn't feel claustrophobic, which I think is more the intent of most films that are one room or one location. It's like they're supposed to feel like the walls are closing in on you or whatever. But because we get so many shots of the outside of this car, it being in these like vast, like gorgeous, scenic routes, areas, mountains, ocean, you know, just these like beautiful zones from the outside, big old wide shots. It still feels like very, I don't know, airy and gorgeous somehow, which is kind of like a really cool thing if you're making a movie with one character who lives in a car.
Yeah, that's like 100% like one thing that I wanted to bring up, which is like I was very impressed with that. Like I was very impressed with just like the way that they shot this movie because yeah, it's like going back to like our earlier conversation about like film school and stuff. One thing that like you kind of learn in film school is like just being able to like take advantage of like what you have.
Yeah.
You know, so like this feels like a movie where they had a car, sometimes two cars. Like, you know, their car budget wasn't very big.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and they're normal cars. Like, we're not talking like BMWs or some shit. They're like, I don't even know what these are, like a Volvo or something. Yeah,
one was a Volvo. And just like...
Was it really? That was a guess.
It was.
I used to date someone who drove like a 1990 Volvo, and I was like, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
So I was right, I guess.
Yeah. But like,
wow.
Being able to like use that and then also like, yeah, just like taking advantage of like having the beautiful southern Greek highways and stuff, just like having that like scenery, like like if that's the part of the world that you live in, shoot it and make it look good.
Hell yeah. And they probably saved so much money on like set design and props and shit.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And they also, in that way it's kind of set in one location but also many locations. It's set inside a car, but the car is in the world. So but they're locations they don't have to design.
You know, one thing that the car was missing, though? Truck nuts.
Imagine if that car had truck nuts the whole time.
We finally see the back of it.
Or like a air freshener that's like a titty lady or something.
Yes.
Oh, man. When he goes ramming his car into those two poles, it gives a rear shot of just the nuts slamming. Oh, that'd be great. every shot, even when it's not like in this beautiful countryside, the framing and the just everything about the way this movie looked, I think was really gorgeous too.
Yeah.
Some of these shots were incredible.
One thing that I didn't like though was the sound. Like a lot of the sound in the movie really,
some of the sound was weird,
fucked
right?
with me. It fucked with
was
me a
the
lot.
car noises weird for you?
I hated the car noises.
Yeah. What was going on there?
And I feel like that's just the challenge of shooting an entire movie in a car. Like when they're actually driving around and stuff, like making it not sound just like overwhelmingly terrible, just like with the engine going and everything. It's tough. It kind of seemed like that they were doing some sort of like sound dampening, like probably in the editing is sort of the, because like sometimes it sounded like just like an airplane going overhead.
It did not sound like a car.
Yeah.
Or when the bikes are around, the motorcycles, it didn't sound like motorcycles.
Yeah.
Whatever noise was happening, it didn't sound like the noise that should have been happening.
Yeah. And you know, I wrote this down, like I didn't know if it was just because I was using my headphones when I was
I thought
like,
so too, but I watched it on 2 devices so I would...
checks out then. Yeah,
it checks out.
Because there were some times too, like in the later half of the movie when like they were like, a lot of the audio was like super echoey, like the dialogue and stuff. Like it just sounded like someone was like talking and the sound was like bouncing back. Like, so
yeah,
that part was like kind of like, you know, just like from a technical standpoint, that kind of bugged me a little bit, but like,
yeah. The dialogue stuff I could deal with, but the car noises were very distracting to me. Like, that it sounded so strange. I'm like, what is going on? And like you said, I'm like, is my TV busted? Like, is this a weird stream? Like, what is happening with the car noises sounding so fucked up? That was really distracting to me. The dialogue being, or like the sound of the dialogue being a little off, I can deal with. I mean, this is clearly like a low budget film.
right.
But the car noises were so literally strange. Another thing I liked about him being in his car all the time is that we get those moments of him. I am going to jump around just a tiny bit here at the beginning.
Yeah.
We get those moments of him throughout the movie, like talking to himself, repeating conversations he's had, making strange noises, or just like randomly yelling when he's alone.
Yeah.
You never see that represented. Almost never. Whenever people are talking to themselves in a movie, it is 100% of the time in a mirror. They're talking into a mirror.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You
I
never
would say
just
so.
see someone in a movie like walking around like how I believe all people do, right? You just walk around, say random shit. You have half a conversation with yourself out loud. You make a weird noise. You sing part of a song. Whatever you're doing, you're making noise out loud. I would guess that it's probably really hard to capture in a authentic way. Because
that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
You know, when you're writing a movie, like, you know, there's just that idea that everything that you're writing, it needs to be like pushing the story forward, like need to be pushing the plot forward, like whatever that may be. You know, at least that's sort of like what is sort of taught when you're like taking screenwriting classes or whatever, that like that it's all fine real estate, every inch of every page, you know? And like this movie does it so well, where it's like, it's the whole idea of like showing and not telling, where talking about like the scene where he is like talking to himself, like practicing the conversation, you know, where he's like about to have with like the guy at the honey farm or whatever. I feel like a shittier writer could have like just like had him like be sitting in the car and he could like be talking to himself like, I really got to nail my job performance tomorrow, so I need to practice this. And then he starts talking, you know, but like people don't talk like that. Like people don't give exposition in their normal lives. So
I feel like people also don't practice their conversations into a mirror.
Yeah.
Or their delivery of lines.
Yeah.
Like they do that in movies so much. That's like one of my top pet peeves is people practicing how they're going to deliver a line into a mirror. That is not something that people do. Maybe actors, I don't know, but not normal people.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm a big fan. Yeah, I was a big fan of those scenes like that. Yeah. Him like,
and sometimes he's just like sitting there and just like making like ba 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 ba, you know, it's like making like a noise or whatever. People do that, you know.
Yeah.
Some people, not me, because I'm normal, but other people would do that.
Yeah, I definitely don't ever make weird noises ever.
I've never made a single noise.
These are my first
Except
noises.
in my example. The first peep you're getting out of my ass. I really appreciated that about this film. I just thought that was great.
Yeah, and like it's a good way to keep it entertaining too, because it's also, it could have been really easy for the movie to be like a lot more boring if you don't have those moments, because like, you know, that's also a very normal part of life, is just like silence, you know, like when I work from home, you know, like sometimes I'll just be like on Slack and whatever, like doing my thing all day, and it's suddenly 2:00 and I haven't said a word to anybody, you know. That's like normal and that's life, but that isn't necessarily entertaining for like a movie. So you know, if someone wants to watch an entire movie that's like totally like silent, like no dialogue, like cool, but I like seeing those weird moments, and like that, like it says a lot about the character, and it just like helps, you know, just like keep your ears and your brain focused.
And I think especially in a movie such as this, that is so like absurd in many ways and really like out there a lot of the time, I think something like that is really grounding. Like that is a time where you go, I can see myself in this guy. Yeah. This guy who is weird, who lives in his car, who sleeps in his car. You're taking a picture of me right now?
Yeah. Are you on Be Real?
No. I'm confused by Be Real.
Be Real's fucking stupid, but like me and my roommates all have it. So it's literally just like you get one notification a day and it's like time to be real. And then you just like post what you're doing. So I figured, and I just got it. So
hell yeah.
Recording a freaking podcast.
I'm also horrified by, I mean, you can post that, but I'm horrified by posting pics of my face too much. So I don't think I'd love that, to have that.
Totally fair. Don't edit that out.
What was I saying?
I want to know. I want everyone to know. Add me on Be Real. My name is Simp4Shades. Anyway, we got off track.
We did. Yeah, so having a movie that's so strange with something that's so real, where you can see yourself in this character who is often really strange, lives in his car, never leaves his car, has like a weird job. Like everything about this movie is so strange that having something so real, I think, is really grounding to the film also. I think it really serves the film.
Yeah, because it definitely helps, because yeah, like the whole scene, or like the whole idea of like his job with like delivering the honey and stuff, it really threw me for a loop, like watching it, because I was just like, this job is so serious, like everyone involved, it's so serious, but like I just did not pick up on it. I did not pick up like what was the point of the honey, who that guy was, like any of that. Like it all just kind of like, the number of times that I just wrote IDK in my notes watching this movie is like insane.
I mean, it's meant to be absurd anyway, so you know, you got to leave a little bit of just, this is a weird world, things are going to be a little weird.
Yeah.
But there was a couple things going on with that. I mean, you talk about how it was such a serious thing. Okay, so let's just say, first of all, what his job is, plainly, is that he drives through all these beautiful countryside of Greece, stops at a farm or something somewhere, and asks a guy for one single jar of his finest honey, and then brings it back and delivers it to this man who we presume is narcoleptic, because he is always asleep on the ground when he arrives, like in the middle of a task, even like he's holding a hose one time.
I love that.
I forget what he's doing.
That was such a great way to introduce him.
Yeah, he was great. But so he delivers this single jar of honey to this man, but it is all very like orderly. It's very serious. I read an article that compared it to underworld type jobs that are usually really cool in movies. Like he has driving gloves, like sort of like a professional killer, and he's like going to do regular like pickups of like quote unquote merchandise, you know, for a mysterious buyer. And that person even referred to there's like a sort of script that they go through a couple times of the whole like, I like your jacket, is it warm enough, oh yeah, it has a nice lining, or something along those lines. They say that multiple times.
Yeah.
And this person was also saying that could be a sort of like elaborate password too,
right?
So that it's like sort of like a secret code that he has to go through. And it's so like, when you think of it that way, it just makes it seem even sillier. Like, here's my secret job, I have to go and say this secret code and get this one jar of honey to bring across town, and you know, it all has to be done like in such a manner. But I just think that makes it like really fun to think about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And you know, just the fact that it is like honey, it's just such like a sweet, delectable, like innocent thing, you know?
Well, you know what the guy said? I love the one part where the guy was saying like, honey, it's like nothing else. Like, I could have an apple, an orange, a banana, whatever. I'd still be having a piece of fruit. But honey is just honey.
Yeah.
And for this, we must respect it.
We must respect honey.
And we're talking respect. We're talking Italiano. We're talking the mob, baby. There's probably Greek mob. Is there? There's got to be, right?
I'm sure there is.
Greek mafia. Slide into the DMs. Let me know you exist.
Tell us the password.
I love that little piece of dialogue. Although honey, for me, I think honey is so gross.
Yeah?
But I do, yeah. Well, I just think the whole concept of honey is gross. What I want, something come out of a bug's ass? Like, that doesn't sound appealing. Bugs have walked all over this, shitted out their ass, and now I'm going to eat it. I wouldn't do that for anything else.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know? And I think it just tastes kind of gross. I just don't like honey, but I do have a spoonful of it in my coffee every single morning because I was told it helps with allergies. Is that
Local
true or not?
honey.
I'm not sure. Yeah, local honey specifically. I do buy local honey for that purpose.
I used to eat
Is
a
that
lot
true?
of...
Is it placebo? I'm not sure, but I do it every day.
I used to eat a lot of Honey Nut Cheerios when I was a kid. That was my favorite cereal.
Mm-hmm.
So, big honey fan over here.
Yeah, no, I hate honey. I think it's gross. I think the concept of it's gross. The taste of it's gross. I always buy the kind of honey that's like coagulated. It's like almost a solid, you know what I mean? Not the like juicy kind, because I feel like that has less of a taste to it.
Okay.
But yeah, not a honey guy. But I thought his speech about honey was funny. It was funny. There's lots of funny stuff in this film. It's funny, it's silly.
Yeah.
But it has that same like deadpan delivery that we talked about in Killing of a Sacred Deer too.
Right.
Like, they have that weird deadpan thing going on.
And that I think that's just what makes it all just so... That's where the comedy like really hit for me, was just a lot of the dialogue. Like the way that he talks to his kids, the conversation that he has with his friend about like naming his boat, you know? He's just like, will you ever come on the boat? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, dude. Be a better friend. Go on the damn boat.
Yeah, and some of them are like, I mean, it's so deadpan that you can almost miss how funny some of the stuff in this movie is, just because it's almost like not acknowledged. You know what I mean? They just say stuff, they move on, but sometimes it's so funny.
Yeah, I love the scene where he was like teaching his like son how to drive, and like you don't even realize that he's teaching him to drive at first, I don't think, because it cuts from him in the car to then the car driving, and then then it's like revealed later that his son's in his lap, you know? So then like as he's like driving and he's just like talking to himself, then one of the first things that he says like when the car stalls is just like, that was a mistake. You know, and then that gets so much funnier when you realize it's him scolding his kid, like, just trying to learn how to drive.
Yeah, let's talk about the kids. So he has a sort of, I'm assuming like either an ex-wife or someone he's separated from, because they don't live in the same car anymore.
Different cars.
And he gets visitation with the children. But for all intents and purposes, it appears as though the wife and kids do also live in a separate car, right?
There's no proof that they have a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And every time he meets up with them, they meet in the same parking lot. He even like drives from having his window equal to the driver window to having his window equal to the backseat window. He drives a little forward because he never gets out of the car. So that was funny. So yeah, he picks the kids up from there every once in a while. There's not really any clear notion of time in this film, and has his little visitation. I did think one of the first scenes with them is so funny, but actually the funny part is introduced earlier. So the music, the soundtrack to this movie is what I'm going to get at.
Okay.
Beethoven, Moonlight Sonata. Many people know this song. Historically, I think known as one of the saddest songs ever made or something. It always, it's just like a very sad, emotional like song. But the first time it's introduced in the movie is when they're having a birthday party in his car. Everyone's in the car for the party. And then I think it was the wife that goes, yeah, put on some music. Like, we're all partying, we're having a great time. And he puts on this Moonlight Sonata. And then that song continues to be, I think it's the only song in the whole movie.
I think
but
you're
it plays constantly. It plays all the time. And sometimes it's played for comedy. And sometimes it is played for more of an emotional moment. So I just think that's kind of genius, to take the saddest song in the world and then make it funny sometimes, but also make it sad sometimes. But also use it so much and it to me, it didn't feel repetitive. Like, it was always interesting the way it was presented. There's another movie called Force Majeure that uses the same song in the whole movie, and I wanted to kill myself by the end of the movie. The same, like, I don't even know, it's another, like, orchestral song, but it was so annoying to hear it so much, and I never felt annoyed by this.
Yeah, I think the soundtrack, it matches the overall vibe of this movie, which is just like the minimalism of everything. You know, you're using the same set over and over and over again, like in the car and stuff, but you're tweaking other things, like where the car is, like how you're shooting it, like is it a part of a dream, like all these sorts of things, where it's just like, again, it's the same thing of like really just like milking your resources for what it's worth, and like, you know, using a song that is in the public domain, and I'm sure they didn't have to pay any money for.
And actually, it's like a recording that is homemade. Like, it's not like some professional, there's fuck ups in the song. Yeah, like there are restarts, you know, it's like a poorly recorded version of this song that somebody probably made, so they don't, even if it is in public domain, I don't know, but they didn't have to pay the musician for it probably. It's just like somebody who knows how to play piano that they recorded doing it. Yeah. Which makes it even funnier too. Yeah.
Then sort of like the question of whether or not the music is like diegetic or not comes into play, because like, you know, the music is like, you know, I think he has it on like cassette, because he like, you know, you hear the clicking sounds and they're like, play some music. But then other times it just like is playing out of nowhere, you know?
He rewinds the cassette with his pinky at one point.
Like it's cool.
Gorgeous.
I was just a fan of just like how the music, like how it was used. They got so much out of so little, you know?
Yeah, they're very resourceful. Yeah. But so I started with the music when talking about the children to say that one of the first scenes with the children is him picking them up for his regular visitation, whatever. This week's drive is what he says. I wrote that down. And they just loop around this roundabout for like how many minutes? Like several minutes of them just driving slowly around this roundabout with that song playing. And it's him and the kids in the car just slowly driving around and around and around this roundabout with just the saddest song in the world playing. Dude, and that's their visitation.
I was dying at that scene because I used to do that shit when I was in high school. Like, so growing up in the
with
region.
Your kids?
Not with my kids, with my friends in Valparaiso, Indiana. When I was growing up at that time, like once I got my license, I was right around the time that Valparaiso started incorporating roundabouts everywhere, because, you know, Carmel did it first. Carmel was the town in Indiana that had all of the roundabouts.
Yes,
so then they realized,
famously.
so they realized, like, other towns realized how successful it was. So Valpo was like, we're going to get roundabouts everywhere. So once one part of their town had roundabouts, like me and my friends, we would just fucking go to town on those roundabouts. Like, we would just drive in circles, and they were like busy areas. Like, so we would just like keep going. And like, we almost got into wrecks several times because like people would try to anticipate, like, okay, they didn't go to any of these other exits, they're going to this exit, so then I'm probably free to go. But we would just keep going and just like almost hit them.
Here we go. Driving slowly around roundabouts for the adrenaline.
Listening to Moonlight Sonata
in Valparaiso, Indiana.
Yeah, man. Go to the fucking Steak and Shake after.
That whole sentence could be like the title of your emo album or something.
Throwback.
Amazing. Yeah, TBT.
I very much love that scene. And I'm pretty sure that there were other scenes that he was driving circles in, but it's hard to tell because it was from like inside the cars, like from the passenger seat, you know?
Sometimes I think they weren't driving at all. Sometimes I think the car was stationary and they were just doing like lights and stuff behind it.
Yeah, I would
Especially the opening scene. The opening scene is a dream sequence, but if you watch, like, they are in the darkness, but the lights behind them are going left to right. Whereas, like, if you were, I don't know, driving, they would be coming towards you or away from you. Yeah. But they're just bouncing back and forth left to right constantly. So I think it's just somebody, like, outside with some lights.
They ran out of gas. Too much driving.
It's a dream sequence anyway, so you could just say, like, that's a dream thing. You could really write it off easily. But yeah. I thought that was interesting. Okay, so yeah, funny shit. Back to his job for a moment. He gets fired. That's kind of a big plot point, although it kind of like barely happens in the movie, you know? He gets like in trouble because he was late twice. His job is so serious. He was late delivering the honey 2 times, and he gets fired. He has to race another driver as a test first. and loses because he skipped one of the things in his whatever secret password or script or whatever you want to call it. So he kind of loses his only sense of purpose, and that's sort of the beginning of his identity crisis. The beginning of his ungrounding as a human. So it's kind of a crucial moment for his personal growth.
Yeah, I love how that scene goes into how it just goes from the scene of him just being like, oh, he's the better driver, you lose, just like to him just like fucking just yelling in his car, and the way it just like builds up, just the pacing of that scene was so fucking funny. Like, another good like editing moment, like where just like you get that comedy is like after you get the whole build up of him yelling, just lamenting over his life and how he lost, and then you just cut to the kids in the back seat just like looking at their dad just fucking losing his mind.
Those kids are so good at the deadpan too. Like, they are unfazed, they are unbreakable. They rocked.
Yeah.
So he also, one of the reasons why he was late one day, I think, was because of the time that he passed a guy who was hit by a car on the road.
Yes.
So that was also like a cool, like, life-changing moment for him and for the movie. So he passes by this guy, a biker, and his bike's just like kind of in pieces all over the road. He's laying there bleeding, and all the other bikers are just kind of standing over him. And he just pulls over to be like, hey, what's going on, or whatever. And this biker gang, we'll call them a gang, because later it becomes really apparent that they pretty much are a gang. And these are like motorbikes. They're like motocross type bikes. They're not like Harleys.
Yeah, they're like dirt bikes.
They're like dirt bikes. Yeah. So that's the type of biker I'm talking about when I say a group of bikers. Not like big old Harley dudes. I'm talking like some little guys on dirt bikes. But they're very anti-car. And I thought that actually rocked.
It was awesome.
I love these anti-car guys. Yeah.
It was so funny. Like, just, yeah, the way that, like, they brought it up. Because it's like they're, like, standing over this dude who is clearly in pain, not dead yet. And it's like...
Like, not dead yet, question mark? Basically, like, he's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, and instead of, like, you know... I don't know what their EMT skills are or whatever, because like they're like the ambulance is on its way, but instead of us doing something to help him, we're gonna scold you and say that you're a killer because you're driving a car.
Oh yeah, they go. I love they go on a whole rant.
Him.
Like car riders think they own the road. They're like think they're invisible because they're behind their door. They're isolated from other people, and they get cold, they turn on the heat. They get hot, they turn on the air conditioning, and. He said, like, oh, yeah, it's ironic that he's waiting on an ambulance to save him because the ambulance is a car, and a car is what basically killed him. And he tells the driver, you're wearing driving gloves, professional driving gloves, which means you're a professional driver, which basically means you're a professional killer.
Badass. Fucking got him.
Love that shit. That rocked.
Yeah.
And we need more anti-car diatribe in films and in life, to be honest.
Yeah, I support it.
I support
despite
it also.
Living in LA.
Yeah, LA, very car-dependent place, famously. And as we've said, you and I are both from Indiana, which is also a very famously car-dependent place. Like, there technically is public transit in Indiana, but in some places, but not reliable, not often, and basically only if you want to go east to west or north to south and no other way. So, as people who have lived most of our lives in car-dependent places, fuck cars.
Yeah. And like, you know,
public transit for life.
There's definitely, I guess, sort of like just the low, I mean, I can't even call it a low hanging fruit just because this movie is just still just so up there, just like with like all of its messages and everything. But like, you know, the take that I got from it is just sort of like, you know, there's just this obvious commentary on, you know, society's reliance on cars and everything.
Yeah.
But on top of it, like, I loved having like the bikers there too, because like not only are they like a good voice to sort of propel sort of like that hate, you know, a little bit, but also like it kind of almost feels like a classist thing a little bit of just like the bikers versus the drivers, and then like you talked about like them kind of like becoming a gang sort of thing. It kind of just they kind of feel like more like the people, you know, where like they're just more of like a group, and like they have to like, you know, stay banded together. Obviously it becomes a lot more convoluted and fucked up later in the movie. But
yeah. But it also speaks to like what they're saying, people who drive cars are isolated from each other, and that's why they think they own the road, because they don't think of people as other people. Like, they don't think of people in other cars as other people. They just think, this is me where I live in my zone, and why are there other things in my way? Yeah. But people on motorbikes are, like, they're riding as a group, those guys. They're together. They're taking care of each other in ways. But they have some sense of community, at least. Yeah. You know, you can definitely say that. So yeah, just kind of, it reiterates the points that he's saying verbally in practice. So yeah, hell yeah, fuck cars.
But not trucks. Truck nuts.
Fuck trucks too, you know? So yes, do I drive a car? Yes. But I have this tiny little baby car. It's so small. Why are other vehicles allowed to exist that, like, their tires are equal to my face when I'm driving? Like, that feels fucked up to, like, pull up to a light next to a truck or whatever. It's SUVs sometimes, where their whole entire person is, like, above my whole car. Like, cars don't need to be that big. They don't need to. Why are they that big?
Just for hauling ass.
It's fucked up. Fuck that. Anyway. So they tell him he's a professional killer because he's a professional driver. Then, moments later in the movie, there actually is some stuff in between here, but jump to, for us, he hits a dog and drives off. So he basically becomes the killer that they told him he was. And we're assuming he leaves the dog. It just shows it shows him looking at the dog in the rear view who's bleeding and lying in the street. And then cut to, we're somewhere else.
I'm very curious how they shot that with that dog.
Yeah.
How did they make it look, assuming they didn't hurt the dog, which I'm sure we would know, or there would probably be articles about it if they did. Like, I wonder how they got the dog to, like, kind of, like, lay there and, like, be, like, hyperventilating and stuff, and, like...
Might just be, like, trained for that. I don't know.
Like, that was the thing that I was like, whoa. It looks, like, very, like, realistic. Like, maybe the dog was, like... Maybe it was, like, a puppet. Super realistic-looking puppet.
Could be.
Where they just, like, had, like, the chest and, like, the face, like,
I'll tell you,
and stuff.
I'm baffled by movie magic in general. I don't understand how movies are made. It blows my mind. I don't know... And, like, I sound so stupid to, like, say what I think out loud on this, but it's just really true. I have no conceptualization of, like, the process for that. Like, for instance, I was just listening to a commentary track on a DVD that I own, and they were talking about, they used this one house that they had access to for, like, 4 different sets, including a cemetery set, a police station set, 2 different houses, probably some other shit I don't remember, but they had, like, all these different, like, they just used every bedroom of this house to make these different sets. That would never occur to me in a million years.
Yeah.
I would go, oh, we need a police station set? Well, let's find us a police station then.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
It would never occur to me to just, like, get a couple things and put them on the walls or whatever, and then suddenly it looks like a police station, you know? So, yeah, movie magic blows my mind. I can't comprehend it. I don't understand it. I am just so, like, in awe of people who make movies and who can think about these types of things that way, because I'm just plain. I have no imagination. I say, we need a living room. Well, I got to find somebody with a living room.
There's stuff like that. I always get more impressed with, like, the whole idea of movie magic and stuff when movies are, like, clearly more of a lower budget. Like, if it's, like, a fucking Marvel movie, I don't care.
CGI does not,
Like,
I agree.
Something like that doesn't matter. Or even if it's just like a bigger movie, like even something where it is like practical effects, like the new Top Gun or like any like fucking Jason Bourne movie or whatever, like any of that stuff, like I believe everything that I'm seeing. Like, as in, like, they threw money at it. They have all their crash pads. They have their, like, their cars that are, like, you know, they have, like, the roll cages and everything, where everything is, like, super safe and well-financed, you know, where they can make it and it's fine. But, like, seeing a movie like this, where they don't have those resources and, like, trying to figure out, like, how did you make that dog look like that it just got ran over? Or, like, the scene of him, like, crashing his car, which I'm sure we're going to get to here soon. How did they do that safely? Did they do it safely, or did they just fucking tell him to do that? You know, because, like, and I know we'll get there, but, like, oh God, I fucking love that scene so much.
I have friends who made a video or like sort of a short film that was the whole joke of it was they work for like a mechanic, but you take your car to the mechanic and they actually just fuck up your car really bad and like beat it with bats and shit.
Nice.
And they are just like poor randoms like us. One of their car was like about to, like their car was basically on its last legs, like pretty much broken down and not usable. And they were like, yeah, just fuck up my car.
Hell yeah.
This is going to be the end of his life. And just beat the fuck out of this car, you know? I don't know what they did with it afterwards. Maybe sold it for parts or I don't know. But, you know, sometimes you do just find like random resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is more impressive, obviously, if it's low budget. And, you know, usually when it's low budget, things have to be practical. They have to be real. They have to be somewhere. And you have to scrounge. You got to scrounge together what you can to make things.
Word. Scrounge.
Scrounge?
Yeah,
you got to scrounge.
Scrounge.
You got to scrounge together things to make it believable that whatever place you're trying to show people is what it is.
Yeah.
Or is what you say it is. Yeah, it just blows my mind. I don't have any concept for that. I just can't even visualize like that. People always ask me, am I going to make a movie sometime? And I go, there's no way. I can't even figure out how movies are made.
Nah, you're going to make one.
It blows my mind. We'll see. Okay, anyway, now that we're done being dummies. Dummies, sound off in the comments. Do you agree movies are magical and you can't believe them? Hit me up. So this is the time when we see him switch seats for the first time, is after the dog hitting thing. He switches seats and then pretends that he's, or like is sort of doing like a role play or like an enactment of a fantasy that someone else is driving and they are a bad driver. Because he famously has like this sense of himself as a great driver. That's like a real solid part of his identity. But now he's been fired from driving. So like that really solid part of his identity is like being challenged.
Yeah.
So he's doing this sort of like self-soothing role play of like, oh, I'm driving with someone else and they're so bad at driving. He's throwing himself all over this car in his fantasies saying like, oh, you should let me drive because I'm a really good driver and I've actually never had an accident and like whatever.
I love the line after that when he was like, if you have one more accident, you will be the worst driver in the world. I was like, damn.
It's so good. Anyway, I thought this was a dream sequence. There are a couple dream sequences in this movie. They're never plainly shown as being a dream sequence, except for one where afterwards he goes, I had a nightmare, and tells a guy about it. So it's never like that apparent that what you're seeing is a dream. You kind of have to figure it out, which I think is kind of fun.
And like I said earlier, it took me quite a while before I was like, oh, these are dreams.
Yeah. So this goes right into the part where the guy's crawling up towards the car from in the cornfield. One of the things I love about this movie is that basically everything you ever see, anything they say, whatever they do, it's all called back again. Like things are called back multiple times throughout the movie. So the driver had like briefly mentioned offhand in passing that his former colleague was the best driver in the world and he'd been shot by a hunter when he was mistaken for a bear. And then we just kind of move on. No further details. So now when he's in this cornfield, which by the way also looks gorgeous, whatever is like the shots here, amazing. This guy, this is like a 4.5 minutes of him just like slowly crawling up the road towards the car.
The confidence. The confidence to not cut away from that.
Yes.
Because I think it's so fucking cool. And that's another thing that this movie does too, is like, if you're going to see something, it breathes. Yeah, like if you're going to see something happen, you're going to see the whole thing. It's never going to cut away. There's never going to be any jump cuts. You are in the car with them, basically. Like you have to experience the whole thing. Like, what was it? Like the fucking birthday scene when he's blowing out the candles. He is the world's worst candle blower. Like, it was so bad. Like, it took him like probably 5 to 10 seconds to blow out all the candles. And I was just like, this has to have been intentional. Like, no one is that bad. Like, they had to have been like, like blow it out like really shittily. But then like you have to watch the whole thing.
That. You can often catch a lot of magic. It feels cool. And then I always think about like, so I'm a big fan of like Joel Petrakis' films, and he's pretty well known for doing that also, just like having these really long takes of stuff, or just like you can hear all the stories about him talking about his films and certain parts that were only supposed to be short, but then the guy kind of moved funny, or, he took a bite of his spaghetti funny. So he was like, I think I'll just keep rolling and see what he does with the spaghetti. And then just keeps rolling until he feels like we're done. But he'll say okay, well, now I've done this shot and it's a long take and it's, whatever, but it's 6 minutes and you're thinking you're going to make an 80-minute movie. Well, now 1/10 of my movie is done.
Yeah.
And just having 1 6-minute take or whatever, So I always think of it like that when I'm watching stuff like this, as well, these guys were making this scene and they go, okay, well, this is a 4.5-minute scene of a guy just walking, crawling on the ground up to this car. It's probably longer if you include the part that happened in the car prior to him crawling up. And now this whole chunk of my movie is done, and it just happened in one scene, one take even. So it's just I just think about that. I don't know. Is that interesting?
I liked it.
It's an interesting way to think of it, I think, from the filmmaker perspective. So going back to where things get called back. So this guy crawls up on all fours, gets in the car, and the driver says, "You're late." And he said, "Sorry, it's hard to walk like a bear." So he was doing the bear thing. And is this the dead bestie? I think it is. Is it?
I think it is.
This was one time where I could not tell who was there.
Yeah, I'm just assuming it was, because they do. He does look similar to the alive bestie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think because he had much bigger hair. Because I wrote down during the scene, I was like, why is Bob Ross crawling? That was my note for this.
Yeah. Okay, so it's his dead bestie who got killed for being mistaken for a bear. And then he gets in the car saying he was walking like a bear on his way to the car. And then gets in the car and eats honey, which is famously a bear food.
Big bear food.
Even the conversation that they have is sort of I don't want to say a conversation you would have with a bear, but he asks would you like to eat a man? Mm-hmm. And he said yes. And would you eat me? No, you're my friend. That's something sweet. You would ask a bear.
Would you eat me? No.
That's basically the end of that scene. It cuts to daytime, and then it's definitely the dead bestie in the car, and he's eating a raw fish, which is also a bear thing. So he's doing all this bear shit. Anyway, I thought it was funny to watch.
I also liked him telling his friend that he was late. Just because that was, he had been on the other side of... Yeah, he's projecting. Mm-hmm. So it was not him having the power in that scene a little bit. Mm-hmm. Part of me kind of thinks that he killed his friend.
Do you think so?
Since he just keeps dreaming about it,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have much proof other than that. But, if you keep dreaming about your friend dying and, being in the car and stuff.
Bloody.
It's
interesting.
Fan theory.
TJ's writing fanfic on this film.
Hell yeah.
I also liked when they are in the car in the daylight on this time. The driver said, if I ever find the man who killed you, I'd kill him so fast he wouldn't even have time to think of his last word. And his last word would be something stupid or pointless like house or gun.
House or gun.
I just thought, what a sick thing to say to someone. I'm going to kill you so fast you won't even have time to think of something cool to say. That's your last word.
I feel like that's kind of a good sort of... if you subscribe to the idea of that article you read about how this is sort of almost a satire of those action movies, where mm-hmm. When someone gets killed or whatever, they almost always have that badass line or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could kind of see that.
What a threat. Yeah, that rocked. Then he runs into the bikers again. And this is where we're going to have the new big life change. 47 minutes in.
Yeah.
And this was your favorite part too, I think, where he starts crashing his car.
Yes.
He basically decides, sort of unspoken, that he's going to join the biker gang. We see him stand up and get out of the car for the very first time. And he does driving forward, driving backward, driving forward, driving backward, crashing into these two poles, basically saying, see, fuck cars. I hate cars too. So do you have more comments on that, or you just wanted to appreciate it?
I mean, yeah, I really appreciated the scene, like we were just talking about, with how they just shot it all in one take. Like, it's really hard to fake that scene with the budget that they had. So did he have like some like protective clothing or something on, like underneath, like where you don't see him in the frame or whatever? I don't know. But like that scene where you just see him going back and forth, crashing the car, and like seeing him just kind of like jerking back and forth, it was visceral, and it felt like a scene like that feels like a scene that you will remember. Just seeing someone like, it really looks like that they are hurting themselves doing that. And like, you know, I didn't see it coming either. Like, you know, like I didn't know why he was crashing his car at the beginning. It really wasn't until like the part with the exhaust from the bike, you know, that's when it kind of like started to click, like, oh, so he's like, this is turning into a cult sort of like gang type situation.
He got like initiated into the gang.
Yeah.
The thing was, he gets out of the car, and I thought he was just going to get on the back of that guy's dirt bike. But what he did was roll up his pant leg, and then I don't know if he lets the guy do it or the guy just does it, but the guy takes the driver's leg and puts it against his muffler and just burns the fuck out of him.
Kind of felt like a branding sort of.
Yeah, branding, initiation, something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
It was really crazy, and his scream was excellent.
Yeah,
I do wish that we
scream.
saw some gore. There was no gore at all.
Yeah.
And even like right after that, he does walk front facing, so like theoretically, if there was a huge burn on his leg, you'd be able to at least see like the edge of it. And I saw nothing. So
yeah,
I do wish there was a little bit of gore there.
I also felt myself at the same time being like, I want to see this burn. I want to see how bad it is.
I want to see it. Yeah. So he's traded the car for a bike. Now he's a bike guy. But he lives on the bike in the same manner that he lived in the car. So like, he sleeps on the bike. Everything's on the bike, the same as the car.
It's fucking awesome. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, but it is like, what are they saying there? He's living the same life, but changing the scenery or something, like, I don't know. And after this, people around him start to treat him differently. So he's a bike guy now. People don't recognize him. His friends and family don't recognize him. He has to come up and go, it's me.
Yeah.
Before they recognize him, which is just kind of funny. And I don't know if that's like, I guess it could be interpreted both like literally and figuratively. So like literally, he's not a car guy anymore, and all these car obsessed people are like looking down on him or something, or like being judgy, which famously, like, that is part of our culture. That is part of like car culture.
Yeah.
Is that people look down upon people who do public transit or other non-car versions of transit.
Yeah, like his wife or ex-wife or whatever, she calls him immature for doing it.
Yeah, and she like looks disgusted at him all the time.
Yeah.
They roll the windows up on the car when he comes to try and visit, and like the kids won't even talk to him. So there's that like car culture commentary part of it, but then like figuratively you could say like he's going through changes. He's changing his shit up, you know, like you change your fashion, you change as a person, you change your beliefs, whatever. And like people around you don't always respond positively to that either. So I don't know. What do you think?
When I watched it, I took it just very literally. Like I took it as like he is just like spiraling at this point.
Yeah.
You know, ever since he lost his job, that's kind of just when it all just kind of went downhill. And having like, you know, saying that he is a driver, you know, like the car just being so much of his identity, it just kind of felt like he had to like scramble to sort of just like redefine himself a little bit. To
find his new thing.
Yeah.
And he knew these people had like a really strong belief in something, like they had something going on. They had a thing going. So he just kind of latched onto their thing. The first thing he saw. Yeah.
And I also just feel like that this dude cannot take criticism well at all. Like, you know, just
a
like
man not taking criticism well.
It's weird. So he like takes it poorly from his boss, just from, you know, being late all the time, and he's having dreams about like
relatable.
Having dreams about like
I don't take criticism from my boss in regards to me being late very well either.
But then he like, you know, gets criticized by the biker too, where like basically the dude calls him a killer for just like basically for who he is. And like clearly that rubbed him the wrong way. And then, you know, after just like his whole identity got threatened and stuff by his replacement, like the better driver, then it's just like, what does he have left? So he like literally sheds himself of.
And like all these criticisms are sort of coming true.
Yeah.
Or like They told him he's a late guy. Well, then he's late twice. And then he told him he was a killer. Then he does kill a dog. So, like, the proof is becoming in the pudding, whether or not, like, you want it to be true. So then you really go, it's time for a change.
And his wife calling him immature too. Like I can even see that like coming true as well, because then he's like trying to take the kids on the bike and stuff too, and that's just like, you know, it's not, I wouldn't call that great parenting, but
no,
I don't,
because his kids are pretty young. I don't think they say the ages, but they seem like 7 and 9 or something. Like, they're pretty young, right?
I would say so, yes.
What do kids look like these days?
They could be 20. I don't know.
Google kids. 7-year-old.
Google image search. 7-year-old normal.
Put me on the damn FBI list.
They're Googling kids.
Googling 7-year-old boys? Uh-oh. But yeah, also when there's like a time when he goes to pick up his friend, he takes his friend on the bike, and the friend gets too chilly on the bike.
He gets too chilly.
He gets too chilly and he has to take the bus back, but that's another sort of callback to when the biker guys said, oh, drivers get too chilly and they got to turn on the heat. They can't, just be chilly.
Yeah. He told him it was his fault for not having the right boots.
But even the boots thing was like another callback, because there's a time when him and his friend go to like the docks and they watch the boat guy for a while, who's doing like, we don't know what he's doing at first, but once he tells his story later and you think back, you go, oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
But he basically just looks like he's kind of like jumping, like sort of jump sliding almost, like on his boat repeatedly forever.
That shot felt like a scene from the movie Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt so silly to me.
It's silly and it's long, and you're just watching this guy jump for a long time.
A really long Sperry's commercial.
So it's really funny, but then later we get the story from him about how his dad died on a boat because he had the wrong shoes and his shoes were slippery and he slipped off. So now he has these these gorgeous non-slip boat shoes, which saved his life then, and they continue to save his life. So like having the right shoes was really important for him and his survival. And then we cut to this guy in this other situation who doesn't have the right shoes. So it's just like a little shoe through line, I guess. It's just like I said, everything gets called back. That's all.
There's like, this is gonna sound a little out there, but I kind of feel like there's almost this commentary of like shoes in this movie as a vehicle in themselves.
Okay.
Just like in the way that just like humans move, because like we have all these different vehicles. We have cars, bikes, boats, but like what was the original human vehicle? Just their fucking feet. And of course, like humans had to use, if their feet got sore from walking too much, they need a little bit of support, so they get different shoes and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like that there's something.
Shoes are part of it.
Shoes are part of it, and there's some sort of commentary going on about humans and society's relationship with nature in this, and how much we try to avoid being a part of nature, where we literally separate ourselves from the earth with shoes, with vehicles. And I actually think there's a little bit of like evidence in this with like his friend who died being like compared to a bear, and how he like crawls on his hands and feet and everything. And then there's also just like those shots of the driver like taking his shoes off and leaving them outside the car, which I thought was so weird. Like I don't know what to really make of that. But
it introduces shoe imagery early in the film without having to address it really in any way.
Right.
It's just like, I guess every time he's having a life change, you're right, shoes are also a part of the change.
Yeah.
So like when he's driving the car, he has these nice like dress shoes. He goes to the bike, he has to get these boots. He goes to the boat, he has to get the boat shoes. So like shoes are changing as he is also changing what he's doing too. So that's interesting.
And just like the way that the movie ends, I know skipping ahead a little bit, but like with like the song and everything, and like just talking about how like the sea and stuff is like basically like it's a song just sort of like respecting the ocean. I feel like him ending on a boat feels sort of like his compromise almost, where like he's on a vehicle that is like basically has sort of this like relationship with water and like nature and stuff. it's like different from like the other vehicles and stuff where like, you know, you really have to like respect the world a little bit that you're using to like navigate, or else you'll fall off and die.
Because even like cars and bikes and whatever are on pavement. They're not on really like ground.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like there's a separation there, and even when we're talking about him driving through this gorgeous countryside, like you're right, he's never outside. He's driving through it inside of his vehicle.
Right.
So yeah, that's, even when they go to the docks, like they just sit in the car or they sit on the bike or whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. And when you're talking about the ending and he's singing the song about how beautiful the ocean is and etc. And then you're also saying his dead friend was the most connected to the earth, right? Because he's crawling on the ground, he's connected to an animal. His character is just called the bear. Mm-hmm. The opening scene of this film also is that guy singing a song about the earth, isn't it? Like, isn't he singing about like all the stuff you find, berries and twigs and twigs and berries?
Nice.
Some would say.
real mature.
That was an accident. Fruits, etc. Stuff you find on the earth, you know. So that's how the movie opens, and then so it closes similarly, I guess. But different. Same, but different.
Same, but different.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't think about that, but that's like a really cool observation, I think.
Again, I don't know what my interpretation of it is. Like, if
it's something that is relevant.
There's something there. Like, if I had to write an essay about this for my fucking what was it, Greek weird wave film class, like, I could see myself writing an essay about it, but like, I don't have the thoughts right now. This would take a couple drafts to like really put it together,
to really parse out. Yeah, sure. That is really it is really interesting. We'll think about that while we get from here to the end of the movie, which we're not that far from, really.
It's a short movie.
It is pretty short. It's pretty short, and because it's so much of it is like those long scenes where like kind of nothing's happening. It's more of a character study than like an action narrative or anything. There's less action points, I guess is what I'm saying. But there's a lot to interpret still because it's so artistic.
It is. Like, nothing's handed to you. Like, like even like what you're saying, like even the dream sequences. This might just be me like coping because I feel stupid that I didn't realize that they were dreams for a while. But like, they don't tell you that they're dreams.
No, they don't tell you. I didn't know either.
You have to figure it out.
I had to figure it out too. So don't like, you're not stupid.
There's no sepia tone over these shots.
And most of the time with the dreams, like, you also don't see them go to sleep.
Right.
It's just nighttime. Maybe you think they could be going to sleep sometime. Sometimes you're not even in sleep. It's not on your brain. But what's happening is clearly a dream. So
yeah. Now I'm like thinking like, how many of these other like night scenes were dreams? Like the scene where like the other driver comes into the car, you know, and like they're like eating like bread and honey and everything. Like, was that a dream? Or was like, I don't think it was, because he was in the driver's seat, you know, so like maybe that's like one of the indicators of it. But now I'm second guessing shit.
He was in the driver's seat, but also I feel like what happened in that scene was realistic and appropriate for like what those characters would be saying to each other. He kind of sabotages the guy by getting honey on his hand and making his hand sticky, and then the guy, I forget exactly what he says, but something about like, you knew like I was going to beat you and take your job, basically. So like it feels realistic to the characters in the scene, whereas like the other dream sequences, first of all, like I said, he's almost always in the passengers, hanging in the passenger side of his best friend's ride, and they have often like his dead friend, who is clearly, I mean, he's not alive, so like he wouldn't be there. And then in the next one we're about to get to, the dead friend is there, but also he like introduces his dead friend to the driver of the car, so you're like, okay, really, what's going on? That, I think once they clearly state that was a dream, and I had figured it was when I was watching it, but then once they get to the end of it and they say that it's a dream, then I go, oh, now I understand what I've been seeing this whole time. But yeah, so let's get to that. So he goes to sleep in a field on the bikes with the other bikers. They all just kind of like hunch over their bikes and rest on their elbows on the handlebars.
So
weird, uncomfortable, whatever. He goes to this field to go to sleep. Then he has that dream where him and the dead friend and the main biker guy are on a road trip. He's also in the passenger seat in this scene. He's telling the main biker guy about his dead friend, but when he wakes up, he tells that guy, oh my God, I had a nightmare. And it was a nightmare because we were driving in a car on a road trip and we were having a good time.
Yeah.
Like, what a night. Like,
and he was like, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Because he's trying to like fit in with these people who are so anti-car culture. That's something that really kind of was a good dream, you know, by all measures. He kind of has to pretend was bad.
Yeah, it's not like, God, I have this recurring trauma of my dead friend who I cannot stop dreaming about every night. I should really get this like figured out. No, yeah. I had a fucking nightmare that I had a good time, like on a road trip. Like, fucking priorities, dude.
Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time, etc. That was the only dream sequence that was clearly talked about as having been a dream.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, kind of solidified the model that had been happening throughout. Next is the biker guy, the main biker, talking about his dead wife. I loved this scene, how she was killed. That she was split in half by a car when she stopped to lick the asphalt because she liked licking asphalt that was near the sea.
I was like,
incredible.
Okay, fine.
So funny. Let's just say I was laughing. And like that seems to be like the inciting trauma that made him anti-car culture.
It has to be, yeah.
Is that like his wife got out of the car to lick the middle of the road and got hit by a car, and now he's anti-car culture. Ridiculous.
That was a scene that I was just like, okay.
You didn't like it.
You'll probably catch on that towards the end of this movie, I was just accepting everything that was happening. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. Cool.
Letting it wash over.
Yeah.
We talked about the wife and kids kind of being disgusted with his motorbike lifestyle. But I don't think we said that also they kind of disappear for a while. They're just not where they were. He can't find them. He finally does find them and they won't open the window. They just look disgusted and drive away. He's kind of also lost his family.
Yeah. That scene was in the rain too, right? When he finds them and stuff. I just thought that was like an interesting decision, you know, because like he doesn't have a choice. Like he destroyed his car, so now he has to be on his bike, like even when it's like rainy and stuff, and like trying to like get his kids to come with like for a ride and everything, just like when it's just like wet out. Ugh.
I think we get a couple scenes of him like sort of second guessing his motorbike lifestyle. One is that. 2 is the sleeping. He has trouble sleeping like that. 3 is what happens to his fellow gang member here in this next scene, which is that his license was expiring, but he didn't think he was going to be able to renew it because of his poor eyesight. And they give him a vision test, and it turns out lie detector test determined that was the truth. So he has to just die.
Guess he has to die.
He has to die, and he picks how he wants to die. And it's like he makes all the guys duct tape him to his bike, duct tape his helmet all shut. So I think he's got tailpipe situation happening or something. Whatever. He suffocates inside of his helmet.
Fucking awesome.
They just watch him die because he can't renew his license.
Well, he tries to watch. Then he like covers up.
He does cover his eyes. But he talks to the boat guy too at some point about, oh, do you have to like deal with weather on your boat lifestyle? Do you have to deal with these different things? And the boat guy was saying no. So anyway, that's just another hint that those are things that are bothering him. Then we see him off the bike. And this is the only time we've seen him off the bike since he got on the bike, which is we're down to 8 minutes left in the movie at this point. Shit's almost over. He's been on a vehicle the entire time.
Things are really starting to pick up.
Yeah. He crawls with his dead friend in the grass. What's that about? What's going on there?
I couldn't tell you, dude. I was like, I mean, maybe going back to what I was saying earlier, like maybe that is some sort of, because at the end he says, I think you're ready, right? So like part of that kind of feels like almost like a different initiation, like not necessarily to like join like a weird
he needed to
gang.
Connect with Mother Earth.
Yeah. Like a connection to Mother Earth. Like he needed to get on his hands and knees and like crawl around like a bear, feel like an animal, and like he is now back to Earth. He is not wanting to be in a car, in a bike, any of that shit. He wants to like follow the path of his friend.
Yeah.
But his friend's dead. So did he die?
Did he die? Interesting.
I don't think he did.
The end is kind of so open. It could mean a lot of things. But, okay, so he crawls in the grass with his dead friend. His dead friend rubs through his beard and says, "You're ready." This is the only time I think we see the dead guy in... No, this is one of 2 times we see the dead guy in daylight, so it's pretty rare.
And the driver has just, like, long hair and the beard and everything.
Yeah, he's getting scraggly.
Such a good look, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought he looked great.
Yeah, he looks great in the whole... He has, like, a real presence. And he's got those haunting eyes. He just, like, looks cool. I mean, plainly, he just looks cool. He's cool to look at.
Yeah.
So it really worked for him that we were mostly looking at him do nothing or sit still for most of this movie because he's just cool to look at. So
facts.
Just facts. He looks cool. So he gets boat shoes and gets on the boat with the boat guy and then sings a song about the ocean, about how beautiful the ocean is, and how many other beautiful things it has created on Earth, such as beaches and such as looking blue from outer space. That pretty much takes us out of the film, but that is another long scene. He's singing this song for a long time, and the song continues over the credits too.
Yeah, it was so much.
It was a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways I think you could interpret the end. Sort of, he's lost all of his like earthly things that keep him bound, and now he's sailing off.
Something about just going from earth to water, like that feels like more of like a actual
You're like,
transition.
What's the metaphor there? Yeah.
Like a
now he's not on solid ground anymore because he lost his kids and his job and blah, blah, blah. But in another way, he's sort of free. Maybe it's like an idealistic sort of dream of the director who maybe has wife, kids, and job and doesn't like them and goes, what would it be like if I just quit all those things and sailed off into the damn sunset? Maybe so. So there's a lot of different ways you could think about the ending. I don't have anything concrete to say here. Just ideas, I guess. Do you think... I don't know if... I guess I didn't even look if these songs... The song at the beginning and the song at the end were original. Did they write them? I guess they probably did. They seem almost improvised at times too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I at least think the ending song is improvised. I don't know that for a fact, but there are times in the song where he goes, I don't know what the actual lyrics are, but something like, "Oh, you have fish and reeds and
yeah,
sticks."
It feels like stream of consciousness. Like there's no like set pattern or like set like cadence or whatever.
And because the melodies like are very repetitive and simple. So it to a way that's like, I'm improvising this.
It feels like, it feels like a song that somebody would just be singing to themselves, which is cool.
Yeah. I really don't know that I loved the ending though, to be honest. But where else could it have gone? I don't know.
I try not to think that way too much anymore. Cause like, I remember when we talked for Killing of a Sacred Deer, I think I had like mentioned something like, oh, like what if the movie like ended like this, or what if he did this instead? And like, I don't know, I'm trying to like not think that way anymore and just like, very much just like focus on a movie just for what it is. And like, because for whatever reasons, like when they were writing it, shooting it, editing it, whatever, everything is always just very intentional with any movie. Like these are the decisions that they made. So like, it like, I feel the same way for like if somebody is like reading my script that I wrote, I've experienced this where I can like send it to a website or something and they can give me like feedback on the script, and they'll just kind of like, I consider something to be a bad review of my script if they're just like, well, what if this happened instead? Or like, what if this happened? It's like, that's not like what you should be focusing on. Like if the entire story, like if it doesn't make sense, like logic wise, like if characters are making decisions out of character or whatever, like that's different. But just like throwing stuff out there, like, I don't know. It's something that I've just like trying to like not do.
You're sensitive about it and you don't want to do that to other people.
1,000%. It's a me thing. But if you want to like think of other ways that the movie could have ended, this is your podcast.
I don't have suggestions. I don't know that I want to like give a suggestion of a different way it could have ended, because it probably does end how it should, but I just don't know that I love it either way.
Right.
I was thinking about recently, someone asked me to give them feedback on their short film, and I said, what if you did this instead? And I'm like, was that terrible? I don't like doing that. I don't like giving feedback, which sounds ridiculous because I have a podcast where I critique film.
I hate it.
I hate when friends send me films and go, critique this. Give me feedback on what you think about it. I hate that. Don't want to do that again. Sorry to the person who just did that to me.
Never again.
So, do we have any more thoughts on this film, the end of the film, anything in particular, or we can go ahead and score it? What do you think?
Oh, okay. So I had one more thought on this movie. Another possible fan theory on this.
Okay. More fanfic.
Going back to the idea that he killed his friend.
Okay.
What if he ran his friend over with his car and as a result is now being punished and he's being doomed to live in a vehicle the rest of his life? Could you see that?
I could see that, but I think if true, that it would have been more interesting to say that than to just have it be something that's interpreted.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's interesting. That would be like an interesting, cool plot point.
Because I think I was thinking about it during the scene where he was trying to sleep on the bike. Because at that point, it's just like, just fucking sleep on the ground. Like, why? Like, you're on grass. Like,
but all the other guys are also sleeping on bikes, though.
True. So he doesn't want to break the code or whatever. So that's fair.
We don't know why he can't get off of the bike, why he can't get out of the car, why he can't get off of the bike. We're not told. We don't know. It's unspoken. It's just like my favorite movie, Relaxer, where he can't get off of the couch. It's just like Exterminating Angel. They can't leave the room. We don't know why. They just can't.
I was expecting something. I was expecting maybe he had like really tiny legs or something. Or like, I don't fucking know.
But he got out and he was normal.
He was very normal. And that's
and
cool.
He could walk. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a note somewhere where I was like, this dude must have the worst circulation in his legs. Like,
from just sitting down all the time.
Yeah.
And like his ass.
That's how you get blood clots.
Ay.
Those are my closing thoughts on the movie, I think.
Hell yeah. We should score this out of 5. What do you think out of 5?
Well, per my Letterboxd score.
You can change from Letterboxd. We've had a long discussion now. You might have different thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to take your advice and do that. So
Okay.
Originally on Letterboxd, I scored it 2.5 out of 5. I think I'm going to go up to 3 now. Because
wow.
I think like talking it out and stuff, I think I am starting to appreciate the film a lot more. When I first originally like scored it, I was more just kind of caught up on little things. Like I was like annoyed with like the audio issues and also just sort of like the overall, just the absurdist vibe. I think sometimes I'm really into it. Sometimes I fucking love weird, absurd movies. And then other times I just like don't vibe with it. And I think like this movie was like one of those examples where it was just like, you know, some of the scenes I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is really cool. Like I love some scenes and there's other scenes where I just was like, I don't care what's going on, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's why I went straight down the middle, 2.5 out of 5. Like I felt half and half about it. But now, like, you know, thinking about things more and just kind of like talking about different interpretations about things, I think I do like it more. So
yeah,
we're gonna go up to 3.
And there's maybe like a little more intention and thought and care put into some things than is initially apparent.
Yeah,
you got to think about it a little more to kind of figure some of this crap out.
Yeah, and that's cool. Yeah. I like a movie that grows. For sure.
Okay, so I gave this 4, I think. I really liked this film. There are some stuff I didn't love about it, but in general, I really liked it. I think it's so unique. It's weird. It just has a really cool feel to it. I'm a big fan of the Greek weird wave stuff, so any of that crap, you're probably going to get me with it.
You're a Greek freak.
I'm a little Greek freak, unfortunately. Hate to say that out loud. But, yeah, I don't know. I just gel with this. There are some parts that are a little slow. There are some things I didn't love as much as others, but overall, I liked all the people in this. It was gorgeous. I think the visuals really took me a long way too, because I think it just looked so cool. Like shots were coming up and I'm going, wow, you know, and it was very funny. And, you know, famously, I loved comedy.
The rumors are true.
The rumors are true. I love to laugh. And for those reasons, this gets a 4 out of my ass.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And would we recommend this film?
Yeah.
That one's tough. You say yeah?
I would absolutely recommend it.
I say yeah, too, with the caveat that I know this is not going to be for everybody. There was one review I read. What did it say? Oh, yeah. If you love difficult art cinema, this will be for you.
I have a bad habit in my house of not forcing, but strongly encouraging Amanda, who is my partner for those listening, and the rest of our house to watch just weird ass movies.
Hell
so I fully encourage it. Like I want people to like get out of their comfort zones, stop watching.
And you'll remember, I recently, so a few months back, came to visit TJ and said roommates and partner and scared them all out of the damn house with a weird short film.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it, and then I came home, I was like, I want to watch it, and I fucking loved it.
That would be The Hole the Devil Put There by pal of the pod, Alex Kabutsky. Cleared the room with that one. Sorry, Alex. I always make people watch that short because I'm so entertained by it. I think it's so funny and it's so like unique and creative, even though like it's kind of stupid, but like it's stupid in a really smart way, I think. But anyway, I always show people it and they go, this is gross and nasty. I don't like this. I'm uncomfortable. Yeah. And so I told him I love his films so much. I'm always trying to get people to watch more of his films, but I'm like, I always make people watch that one first, and I think it actually has negative returns on getting them to watch any more of his stuff because people are so grossed out by it. I didn't know that so many people, this is a spoiler, so check out for 30 seconds if you don't want me to spoil this short film, but the topic of the short film is belly buttons. And I didn't know that so many people are disgusted and horrified by belly buttons. I had no idea that was true.
Grow up.
I love belly buttons.
Yeah,
grow up. Grow up.
Grow up and appreciate the hole the devil put there.
You're disgusted by a belly button? Literally, babies have them. Grow up.
Are you a baby?
You used to eat through that thing. Okay, grow up. I think belly buttons are the coolest part of the body. I'm obsessed with belly buttons. Everyone has a unique one, you know? And I personally have a strange one because I was born with an umbilical hernia in my belly button. So I have like a weird belly button. It's like not quite an outie, not an innie, who knows what's going on there.
A midi?
It's something. It used to be full outie and it was scary and I could make it blow up like a balloon. Can't do that anymore, but but I've never had belly button lint. So because of the shape of my belly button, and I am so jealous of people who get belly button lint. Who get to come home at the end of the day and have a treat waiting for you,
a little treat
in your belly button. You can make a wish on it if you want. And, you know, I just never get to make that wish. And I think people don't appreciate what they have. And I think more people should respect belly buttons. And that's what I have to say.
So I'm going to say this with the caveat of God forbid, knock on wood, I would never, ever wish anything bad to ever happen to you ever. But if you were to ever develop a terminal illness and you applied for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, you're saying that your wish would be to just have a little bit of belly button lint.
Well, here's the thing about that. My wish is to have belly button lint, but you can make wishes on belly button lint. Similar to eyelashes, it's the same program. So, really, if you wish to have belly button lint, you're wishing for more wishes. And that's, as we all know, economic, and it's the number one wish everyone wants is more wishes, right? So, actually, yes, I agree. That would be my wish.
Now I gotta think about what my Make-A-Wish would be. It would probably just be for the truck nuts thing, if we're gonna be honest. Just big old truck nuts for my hybrid.
Truck nut. What did I say? Truck nut in America. Reclaim these nuts. If you could have Make-A-Wish, you would just get long truck nuts. That's amazing. Okay, we gotta do the last segment, so we're never getting out of here.
Okay.
Now it's time for ScreenVomit. Okay, in this part of the pod, we just go off about whatever else we've been watching, movies, shows, whatever. So what you been watching?
The last movie that I watched, besides Elle, Amanda and I went to the movies to go see Barbarian, the one that's in theaters right now.
I also saw.
I freaking liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was freaking pretty fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say I fucking loved it, but I didn't fucking love it. But I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a really.
I think it's
good
a little
movie.
Overhyped. Like I saw so much hype. Yeah,
there was a lot of hype, and that's why we went to go see it because I saw the hype for it. I was like, oh, we gotta go see it. I like the storytelling.
We never learn our lesson. Every time there's something's overhyped, I'd say 99.999% of the time, because I can think of one movie that this wasn't true for, but 99.99999% of the time, movies getting a lot of hype online, you're going to be disappointed when you go to see it.
I think that's fair, honestly.
The one movie I thought of that was not true for was Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that deserved the hype.
That movie kicked ass.
It got hype and it deserved it. And that's the only one that's ever existed. So
ever. Mm-hmm. So I thought, I definitely really enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed the unconventional storytelling, like with the very different like acts and like the complete shifts in tone, how it goes from like horror to like comedy to like horror.
The mix
comedy.
Of horror and comedy was really fun. Yeah.
The director was one of the dudes from Wise Kids You Know, right? Or like he like wrote some of their stuff. I don't know if he was. Yeah. I don't really remember, but I'm here for it. I'm here for comedians writing horror like Jordan Peele, which also saw Nope not too long ago. I know that's been out for a while. I thought Nope was pretty good.
I didn't see Nope yet. I think I probably will at some point, but I'm probably not going to see it in theaters, to be honest.
That one was, again, pretty good. Like, that one was also getting a lot of hype. A lot of people were like, oh my God, this is the best movie ever. No, it's not. Besides that, Amanda and I always watch X-Files at the end of the day. I never watched X-Files when I was younger, so it's on Hulu, so it's become sort of like our nighttime ritual. Like before we go to bed, we watch like an episode of X-Files together. So
nice.
Very, very nice.
I never watched that show, but like I watched it when I was a kid. I don't remember a damn thing about it. Like some people have such a strong connection to it, and I really don't remember anything about it, but I did used to watch it as a kid. But I am sort of anti-David Duchovny as a grown person, so I don't think I could go back to it. He's kind of a nasty man and has been for a long time. I don't know if you ever watched Californication, the show he was on.
No.
I don't want to shame people with problems, but he famously was a sex addict, and then Californication is all about him being a sex addict, and then he is just nasty.
I see.
And fucks teens, and I don't know. It just was really gross to me, and I don't know. I'm just kind of anti-Duchovny now, so I don't know if I can go back.
I think that's totally fair. Back before all the shit went down with Kevin Spacey, if we want to go there real quick, American Beauty used to be one of my favorite movies. I fucking love that movie, but you can't really watch that anymore given the subject matter to begin with. Yeah. And it sucks because, I've talked to Amanda about this several times. I would love to show you that movie, but there's no need for it, honestly. Yeah. It's just not. It's one of those things where it's a beautiful piece of art that has just aged so
lost
poorly.
To time.
Yeah. So I think that's a totally fair reason to not want to watch the X-Files. So yeah, support.
Sometimes it's like that. Unfortunate but true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll support whoever's journey. If you want to have a journey with X-Files, go off.
Oh, we're in.
A lot of people are really into it. I just can't do Duchovny anymore, I never had any real, I think it was almost a little too scary for me when I was watching it as a youngster, which I was always watching horror stuff, but I don't know, it was just a little too freaky.
Yeah.
It
gets freaky.
It would play that and then Unsolved Mysteries and then Cheaters, and I would watch that every night.
Good. That's a lineup. That is a power lineup.
But I remember Unsolved Mysteries and I remember Cheaters. I don't know why I don't remember X-Files. I must have been traumatized. I don't know. Okay, so you're watching X-Files. Was there anything else?
That's about it. Just X-Files and trying to go to the movies more.
Hell yeah. Me too. I recently canceled my AMC stubs so that I could spend more money at my local theater.
Wow.
Because you know what? That's 2 or 3 tickets worth of a movie at a local theater is how much you pay for an AMC Stubs membership. And the concessions are cheaper at my local theater.
Hell yeah.
By a long shot. By very much cheaper. And it's just a better theater. So yeah, I'm trying to go to the theater more too. And I also just got a huge TV for my house. So I can also have a theater experience.
I saw that. Congrats.
You can see it right behind me.
Massive. What's the inchage?
It's 55 inches, but
nice.
Previously I was working with a 30-inch TV, so It's, we'd say 3 or 4 times larger than my old TV. If you hold them up next to each other, I know like the numbers don't add up, but just trust me on this.
It's 4 times bigger than your last TV.
It's 4 times bigger than my last. So I'm just really happy to have a nice TV finally, as a movies guy, to have a nice TV in my living room. It's embarrassing when people come over for movie night and I'm famously a movies guy and I got this dinky little TV.
Oh, we watched Buzzard in your living room.
Yeah. Well, now I got a big boy, so next time y'all come through, we'll be watching something crazy.
Let's go.
Okay, so my things that I've been watching. Okay, so I watched The Good Boss in theaters. Speaking of theaters, it's really good. Actually, I was very surprised by it. I kind of saw it just like, what's playing? I don't know, this looks less bad than the other things.
Yeah.
And so saw it with that mindset. But actually, I really liked the movie. It's like one of those movies where it gets really stressful and things just keep piling up, you know, but it's also really funny. Things really tie up really nicely, and I just thought that was a good movie. It's really well made, and Javier Bardem obviously is really good in it, and so is everybody. Yeah, I was surprised by how much I liked that movie. The Good Boss.
The Good Boss.
I watched a movie called All My Friends Hate Me. Which was also really good. It basically is about that feeling. It's like this guy who goes to, it's supposed to be for like his birthday, like all of his college friends are coming in and they're all going to stay at this one house for like the weekend and have like a party thing going. He keeps getting that feeling like everyone actually secretly hates me, or like people are kind of like weird, or stuff is happening. Anyway, this movie made me sick to my stomach. But like,
oh God.
I mean, it's not like it's gross or something, but it gives you that like dread, you know what I mean? Like the sinking in your tummy for like the whole movie. I thought it was just really well done, and I really liked it. All My Friends Hate Me. What else do I got? One more feature and 2 shorts left on my list. I watched some of the 3 Colors trilogy. Are you aware of this trilogy of films?
The 3 Colors?
Yeah, they're like from the 90s, but they're back in theaters right now because there's been like a restoration or whatever. That's huge right now. People are doing restorations and
I support that.
Redoing theatrical runs. Yeah, no, I think it rocks.
I'm not familiar, I don't think.
I'll tell you, I had never heard of them, knew nothing about them, but I guess it's like people who go to film school know them or something. Like, I think it's something you have to watch and that kind of stuff. I went and saw, there's a Red, White, and Blue. Okay, so when I was in New York a couple weeks ago, and I was just like near a theater, and I go, literally, what is playing at this moment that I can go see right now? And the Red, one of them, was the only thing playing at that exact time. So I just went, knew nothing about it, don't know what it's about, didn't know anything. Except that it was playing at that moment. And so I went and saw it. And actually, it was really gorgeous. Just a beautiful film. It was great to see in a theater. I ended up seeing the red one and the blue one. And nice. I don't know if I'd have the same experience watching at home, but at theater, they're just so beautiful. I think they were really great to look at. I also did like the story, actually, on both of those. But it's just so powerful in the theater because it's so gorgeous to have that huge, beautiful 4K restoration picture.
Yeah, that is really cool.
The blue one also has Juliette Binoche, and I love her. So, and I really liked her story. The blue one I actually liked more, I think. All right, I got 2 shorts. One of them, I think, actually, when I was thinking about it, I think would pair well with the movie that we covered. It's called Haas. It's by Ryan McGlade. I don't even know if I want to say what it's about because it's also something that could be more interpreted. But let's just say there's also an alive guy and potentially a dead guy. And I don't know, it breathes like this movie does, I guess. Like Elle does. I really liked it, and I really like the guy who played... Haas is the name of a guy. I really like the guy Haas. I thought he was really good. So I'm recommending that. Actually, I've been watching Ryan's filmography, and to be honest, you really can't go wrong. Having a great time watching through his filmography. But Haas is one that I particularly liked, and I think it would pair well with Elle, so thought it'd be a cool one to mention. And then lastly, a little comedy short by Tynan DeLong and Joe Rumrill called I'm Going to Jump the Grand Canyon. This one is short. I think it's like 3.5 minutes or something. It's very short, but it is so funny. I'm doing huge laughs. I watched it a bunch of times and I'm just laughing. Joe is so funny. Tynan is also, I've watched 10,000 of his shorts, so love his work, also a pal. And yeah, I recommend that. I'm Going to Jump the Grand Canyon. You'd probably think it was funny too, TJ. You should watch it.
I mean, I'm very intrigued just based on the title itself, so.
Okay, that's all I had to watch from this week.
Nice.
TJ, what you got to plug? Anything?
I'm unemployed.
You have future employment opportunity though, correct?
Yeah. So, okay, I can plug some shit. So I'm going to be working on the show BattleBots, which you can find on Discovery and TBS per the new Warner Brothers merger. So we're going to be on 2 channels now. Mm-hmm. Don't ask me what season number it is. I think it's season 8 that I'm going to be working on. It's going to be tight. By the
time this comes out, you'll be up working on it fully.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the show or heard of the show is called BattleBots. That's all you need to know. It's just robots smashing into each other. The show is pure dopamine. If you watched it, because like it got revamped, so if you watched it when you were a kid, not much has changed other than just like the quality of the robots have gotten a lot better over the years, just because they're getting better and better at beating the shit out of each other. So I'm beyond stoked to work on it.
Hell yeah!
I already mentioned my metal band that I play in, Auteur, where like we just played our first show since before COVID hit on Sunday. So we played down in Fullerton, California.
I saw vids.
It was fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Like it just felt so good to play shows again. It was my first time playing any live show since 2020, like February 2020. So I've been missing that feeling. So if you are into like metal, mathy, hardcore type stuff, give us a listen. We are on the internet, streaming services.
You have old music too.
I have old music too. Yeah, for those who are curious, I used to be in a band called House Olympics.
And that's how me and TJ met years ago.
That's how we met. Kayla used to book our shows, and we would play at venues. We would play in Kayla's basement. It was always good times. I was
a rocker. It's my deep dark secret.
It's not dark. But yeah, I was going through like old photos and stuff the other day, and I like found some pictures from when we did the battle set with Messes, and like
hell yeah.
I was just like, oh, that was such a great night. Formative memories. I can't think of anything else I want to plug.
Oh, do you want to say like your Instagram or something? Or if your Instagram's private, I guess you don't.
I mean,
don't know.
You can. Oh, one person that I can plug is my girlfriend Amanda. Amanda is a dog groomer. And she is absolutely crushing it right now. So she is working for Jess Rona. And Jess Rona is the dog groomer in like LA / the entire dog grooming industry. Like she has like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram and stuff. Jess was like the host of there was an HBO dog grooming competition show called Hot Dog.
I watched that.
Yeah, so she was the host of that.
Wow.
So she has a shop in like Hollywood area. Amanda, ever since she started grooming and stuff, like she has followed Jess and like has looked up to her and everything. Like Jess does like online classes and courses you can sign up for and everything. So she's done the courses and stuff. Well, back in like March, Jess like posted that her shop was hiring. So Amanda applied and she like went in for an interview. It went really well, but she wasn't chosen. She was like the second choice basically. She found out on her birthday that she didn't get the job.
And then she killed the first choice.
No. The second, what happened was then they ended up like having another position open up for like a dog bathing position. And it wasn't exactly what Amanda wanted, but she was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it just so I can get my foot in the door. And they just offered her that job outright because they were like, we loved you so much. Like, if you want this position, you can have it. So she started working there a few months ago, but she has just been moving up so fast there. I am confident that she is going to be grooming there very soon, and I'm so proud of her. And I just feel I like being the supportive boyfriend, just watching her absolutely crush it with her job.
Aww.
And she has a dog grooming Instagram account. If you want to follow that, it's at Andy the Groomer. She's like going to like these dog grooming expos and stuff. Like
I've seen her Instagram. She looks like she's traveling all over.
Yeah, she was in Vegas. She was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So she is just like, yeah, she's all over right now. Andy worldwide.
Wow.
So I'm very, very proud of her. She's doing cool shit, and I'm very happy that I can plug her stuff while I'm unemployed.
Hell yeah. Well, all right. That about wraps it up for us. So, thanks for coming on. I'm glad I finally got you.
Duh.
I'm glad you're finally unemployed so I can get you on my podcast.
I know. It's just tough with the time zone changes,
Yeah. There's the time zones and then the lifestyle of a reality TV star.
Just all the cocaine.
It makes it complicated, but I've been trying to get TJ back on the pod for a while. Yeah. But we got you. All right.
Yeah,
and that's
dude,
what's
this
important.
podcast fucks.
You heard it here first. This podcast fucks. Just the podcast, though, not me. So, anyway, glad to have you on, TJ.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
I'm scared.